Okay, so ever feel like you just can't tear yourself away from your chair someday?
Oh, tell me about it.
I mean, I know I do, but what if all that sitting is actually like secretly aging our hearts,
Hmm.
even if we're good about getting a workout in? So
Yeah.
that's actually what we are diving into today, the surprising connection between sitting, exercise, and how healthy our hearts are.
Right.
And we found some really cool research from the PLOS One journal. And trust me, it is eye-opening. I think you're going to want to hear about this.
Absolutely. This is one of those things where, we all kind of have a feeling that too much sitting can't be good for us.
Right.
But this research really drives the point home. Like it challenges this idea that as long as we hit the gym a few times a week, we're good to go.
Yeah.
We can be as sedentary as we want the rest of the time, but it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. That's right. And you know what's so interesting about this particular study is that it really looks at people, well, like you and me,
Mm-hmm.
relatively young adults. They're looking at people between 28 and 49,
Uh-huh.
all living in Colorado.
Okay.
And get this, they were sitting for an average of almost 9 hours a day.
Whoa. 9 hours.
9 hours.
That is a serious chunk of time.
It is. And even with all that sitting, they were still getting, a decent amount of exercise. We're
Mhm.
talking at least 80 minutes a week, so
Yeah.
over an hour a week of moderate activity.
Okay.
So things like, brisk walking, maybe gardening, where you're getting your heart rate up, but
Mm.
you can still hold a conversation.
Yeah, yeah.
And then some of them were even getting close to 2 hours of vigorous exercise weekly.
Wow.
So like running, cycling, really getting after it.
So these weren't couch potatoes by any stretch.
Not at all.
Makes you wonder how they actually measured the impact all this was having on their hearts.
Yeah. So they did something kind of interesting. They calculated what's called the participant's heart age,
Oh, interesting.
which essentially tells you how old your heart is acting compared to your actual age.
Oh, okay, okay.
And they looked at things like cholesterol levels
Uh-huh.
and their BMI to figure this out.
BMI, that's for anyone who might not be familiar, that stands for body mass index. And basically it's just a way to see if you are at a healthy weight for how tall you are.
Exactly. And what'd they find?
Yeah.
Pretty clear results. The more time these people spent sitting, the older their heart age was
Hmm.
compared to their real age. And here's the real, surprising part. Even the people who were hitting those minimum exercise recommendations, that 20 minutes of moderate exercise every day,
Right, right.
they still had this increased heart age. It's like all that sitting was just kind of quietly working against all the good they were doing with their workouts.
Yeah, I think this really underscores that exercise. It's not like this magic bullet where we can just, do our 30 minutes and then do whatever we want the rest of the time.
Yeah.
It really highlights that, yeah, physical activity is important, but it doesn't give us a free pass to just be totally sedentary the rest of the time.
Absolutely. But you know what? There is a silver lining here.
Oh, okay, good.
The people in this study who were really good about incorporating vigorous exercise, so that stuff that really gets your heart going for at least 30 minutes every day,
Yeah.
they did see some positive changes. Like their heart age wasn't as affected by the sitting.
Interesting.
So it wasn't a complete fix, but it definitely made a difference.
It helped. And, one thing I thought was super interesting is that the researchers actually looked at some data from twins.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what they found was that replacing sitting time with exercise was even more effective than, just adding exercise on top of a day that's already full of sitting.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So I bet you're sitting there thinking, okay, this is all really interesting, but what does this actually mean for me?
Right, right. How do we put this into practice?
Exactly. And this is where it really gets empowering, I think.
Absolutely. Because this research, it's not about, making anyone feel bad or guilty.
Yeah.
It's about giving us knowledge that we can actually use, to protect our hearts.
Right.
Even if you're exercising regularly, breaking up those long stretches of sitting is
Yeah.
really key.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you've got a desk job, maybe think about getting a standing desk.
Yeah.
Or even just setting a timer to remind yourself to get up and walk around every hour.
Oh, that's a good tip.
And then, like we said, aim for that at least 30 minutes of vigorous exercise.
Yeah.
If you can, fit it in.
Right. Now, I know fitting in a daily workout, that's not always realistic for everyone.
Yeah.
So what about the, the weekend warrior
Oh, yeah?
approach where you pack all your more intense workouts into the weekend?
Yeah, that's a good point. What does the research say about that?
Well, Spreading exercise out throughout the week, that's generally considered to be ideal. But there is some evidence that being a weekend warrior, it can still offer some benefits,
Mm.
especially when it comes to your heart. It may not be the absolute best, but it's certainly better than doing nothing all week.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's sum up.
Right.
Even if you are going to the gym, even if you're going for walks, all that time you spend just sitting, still impacts your heart.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like those long stretches of being inactive are kind of undoing all the good you're doing with the exercise.
Right, exactly. And like we talked about, different types of exercise can help,
Yeah?
especially the more vigorous activities. But I think what this research really emphasizes is that, integrating movement throughout your whole day,
Yeah.
not just during your, specific workout time,
Hmm.
that seems to be the most effective thing we can do.
That makes a lot of sense. And, this research focused on young adults.
Right.
But it really makes you wonder, like, what does this mean for our hearts down the road as we get older? I mean,
Yeah.
if we're seeing these effects in younger people, it just seems even more important to prioritize moving our bodies throughout our lives.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
what steps can we take right now
Yeah.
to set ourselves up for a healthier future?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us for another deep dive.
Absolutely. This was great.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.